And spawning bottom left as the red Zerg, we got Sziky. And in the top left, as the blue Protoss, we have Dewalt.
Okay, I'm super excited for this matchup. What are your predictions then? Do you think it's going to be 3-2 Dewalt? What would you think?
I would be hard pressed to say that. Yeah, I think Dewalt's going to be. You gotta say Dewalt is favored here. I'll say, I'm giving a real prediction. I think it's going to be 3-1 Dewalt, but Sziky can and has in the past taken series, like best 5 series off Dewalt.
He's definitely one of the players that is capable of doing it, so it's not like Dewalt's a shoe-in for, like, you know, the round of 4 or anything. Like, he's going to actually have to work for it.
He knows it. The problem is Dewalt works for it. You know,
He's
like
a
it's
hard
not
worker.
like, yeah, he's not like, oh, I've got this round of 4 easy, like time to sit back, play some League of Legends and drink a beer. It's like, no, he's actually still practicing, still grinding. Like,
yeah, he's not forming any unions. He's hard at work. He's putting in the overtime right now.
I got a question for you. Why does Sziky put the pool there instead of boosting the top mineral? Because I see him do this sometimes, and I know he knows about boosting that.
I think on some maps it doesn't boost, and maybe he's like doesn't want to do that. Or actually, thinking about it, it actually makes sense, because if the Zealot gets behind the minerals, he can hit the top line from behind. If that little hidey hole where the probe was just at, like if the Zealot's chilling there, he can like come out and pressure the drones easier. So maybe there's a consideration he wants to make it harder for the Zealot to pressure from those angles.
He's also opening pool first, though, and over time, like the boosting on the. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't agree with it, just so you know. I think it's better to do the boosting spot personally, but I'm trying to make sense of it.
Same, like, and the funny thing is, like, I know Sziky knows that, so there is a reason. I just can't think of it. Yeah.
Well, I even practice on that like Denzi micro map, like, you know, like the 4 lings killing the Zealot behind the mineral about losing a ling kind of thing. I think that's like a really important skill to have to be able to deal with those Zealots behind the minerals.
For sure, ZVP, it's huge. I mean, it's your entire early game. So I can't believe this. Only 2 lings out. He somehow knows this is a forge first.
Probe scout timing that tipped him off. You don't scout this early with gateway first because of the mineral optimizations.
I see.
And I guess he knows the rush distances so well because he's a hard worker that he also accounted for how long they're like 8 or so extra seconds it took for the probe to arrive. You know.
Well, it looks like Sziky going to try to do his best to trap this probe. You think with that 3rd hatchery placement positioning, 973 definitely a big option here.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, it is a vertical expansion, which is slightly less favored for Hydra Bust. Like, you much rather a horizontal expansion entrance because the buildings are, you know, wider than they are taller, so it can be easier to bust down that wall and get in there. But still, very potent build, and you can just fake it. You don't have to commit to the Hydra Burst. You know, make like 7 or so Hydras and then just go pure macro behind that. So it can be a nice little pressure build regardless of the game state.
But it looks like Sziky going with that layer first, so not 973, wants to get that Spire Tech underway, and why not?
I think that's wise. I mean, his main skill set is probably that Muta micro against Dewalt, so why not keep that option alive? And I don't think he needs to go for 973 here. And with the vertical spawns, it's fairly long rush distances. It's not super optimal for going for that Hydra Bust.
Not even a single Zealot out for Dewalt. I gotta say, Dewalt definitely playing some mind games right now. This is not normal for him, but he's being very greedy against Sziky, and it seems to be paying off.
Yeah. I think he's got a good read on Sziky right now. I think he knows it's going to be free hatch Spire, and he's going to get away with this.
Oh, we do see a wave of Zerglings from Sziky, though, and those were queued up before he even witnessed the Zealot move out, so...
Yeah, well, the timing of the Overlord checking the main is such that he can't confirm whether or not the Zealot is still coming on the map either. So for all he knows, there's a few extra Zealots behind that. So he doesn't know for sure, right? So he's like needs to make those links probably regardless, just because he needs like at least 6, but probably 8 is like the safest amount at this time.
Yeah, definitely, and can even be threatening a little bit. We're seeing the 2nd Zealot complete the wall for Dewalt here. Stargate underway.
Yeah, and Link Speed finishes up as well. So going to be able to deny this probe scout. So Dewalt won't confirm exactly what's going on until the Corsair becomes relevant.
He's got it. I'm sure he assumes this is Spire.
He does assume.
Play.
Yeah, he assumes. He assumes, but you need to confirm in StarCraft, but it is most often safe to assume, depending on the game state and what your opponent's range of play is like.
So Spire just about to finish up here. 4th hatchery underway. Still another wave of drones from Sziky, trying to get to that 36 supply mark.
You know, I would have loved to have seen Sziky open 2-hatch Muta in this game. Like 2-hatch Muta into 4-hatch Hydra, and then the Mutas pop just as this Corsair arrives, and then we kill the Corsair for free, and then we Hydra bust, because he doesn't then know what's coming behind that. So we'll probably assume Ogre Zerg, but it won't be. It'll be 4-hatch Hydra. I think that would have been a great play to open up against Dewalt here.
It's like the Beast special.
Yeah.
5th hatchery underway. Looks like we're seeing Hydra Den as well going down, so everything looking fairly standard here for Sziky.
Yeah, just gonna lose like maybe like 1 or 2 overlords at max, but usually won't lose that second overlord because the timing of the Scourge is such that you'll have 4 Scourge and time to bully back these initial 2 Corsairs. They won't get usually more than 1 overlord. Oh my god, the intercept!
Oh, that was so
his
close.
Ankles there. Beautiful Vector getting away from those Scourge. Needs to still be a little bit cautious. There is still 1 more Vector to catch the Corsair, but look at Dewalt on top of things right now.
Yeah. Oh man, there we go.
He gets it. Lovely little catch there from Sziky. Yeah, you have to use manual move commands with Scourge, or they don't move as fast as they should. So you have to like really manually control those Scourge to catch that Corsair.
Yeah, they'll like slow down. It's the thing where Protoss turns the Corsair at a certain angle, then the Scourge will run by it and try to re-catch up. Like, yeah, it's Scourge are pretty silly units sometimes. Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, no, I mean, we hear Terrans complain about Goliaths and Protoss complain about Dragoons. No, guys. Like, play with Scourge for a little bit and you'll know what's up.
This looks scary. I mean, there is a sunken.
Yeah.
DTs coming in here. They're going to start trying to target down these drones.
Well, he doesn't want to lose the DTs, right? Like, even if he kills like 2 or 3 drones here, it's not worth it to lose these DTs still. It's much better to keep these DTs out on the map control, deny the 4th base, and, you know, just keep the Zerg thinking about this potential threat. So it's going to, you know, maybe make him a little bit more hesitant to be super greedy here.
He even scouts the Muta, so he knows where-ish the Mutas are. It is that 5-count Muta. We don't see a cannon at the natural mineral line here for Dewalt. I kind of want to see Sziky punish that a little bit. Maybe pick... Oh, never mind. There wasn't one at the top.
Yeah, no, Dewalt's not made any cuts, actually. He's doing the super safe variant. He's got 1 cannon in each bases, and he's going up to like 6 Corsair plus 1. I think this is like pretty much about as optimal as you can get against what Sziky's doing, actually. Dewalt's really read this game state well.
We're starting to see the first Hydra production out of Sziky here. So this isn't going to be the mass Muta Ogre Zerg, at least not yet.
No. He's not taking this 3rd gas either, so he's definitely not going to do like a full committal to it, even if he did go for it. But we'll catch one of these Corsairs, and a few more Scourge coming out of the rally points. Going to be picking up a few more trades. 1 more Corsair going down, another meeting a connection. Now Hydra's going to be coming out protecting the Overlords, but losing a couple of Corsairs is a little bit annoying for Dewalt, because now he's got the decision to make of, do I make more Corsairs and waste gas or not? And he could get punished if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think versus Sziky, the answer is always make more Corsairs.
Yeah, I would say so. Make Corsairs is probably the best player.
Mutas could get caught here. I don't like this. Those are already very bruised, but I guess he does keep Dewalt out on the map here. Seeing DTs scouting out for that 4th base location. And yeah, it looks like they might be able to deny it. Oh, just a little poorly timed.
This is what I was like saying about before, right? Like these DTs are going to get value just existing out on the map, and could also get the denial of the 6 o'clock, although he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so much to pay attention to. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Dewalt's not the fastest of players. Like, he understands what he's got to do better than most, but he's not necessarily as fast as some of these other players.
These ults might be trapped with these Mutas.
Yeah, he's actually going to get a good trade on these, because the Mutas can now hunt these down. The Corsairs can come in to help reinforce this, but with the Hydras out here to buffer, it's a lot more difficult to execute.
Yeah, Sziky kind of doing a great job keeping that wall up. We're seeing the Corsairs moving towards Sziky's 3rd here. Sziky scrambling to try to get in position to deal with this. That is 6 Corsairs.
The DT can come in and help out. There is not an Overlord here to spot this DT, so it will be, raining down quite a high amount of DPS. I think it's the 5th highest DPS unit in the game, I think. It does about as much DPS as like an Ultralisk.
Oh, jeez. I didn't realize it was that much damage.
No, it's a lot. Yeah, it's like 33 DPS or something.
Oh, man. Well, Corsair is going to clean up all the mutas, so those are no longer a threat here. Overlord moving into position to deal with this DT, and it looks like Sziky just barely going to hold this.
Yeah, 9 kills on that Dark Templar, by the way. Crazy value.
From, like, basically a failed DT. It came into the third, got no kills.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, here we go.
And look at this, like, if he kills this Overlord here, this is huge, because he can then just keep punishing this with potential DT. And even if there isn't a DT, it doesn't matter. Sziky might then be worried about a DT coming here, and that will keep these Hydras, like, pinned down on that side of the map a little bit more.
He barely did hang on to that DT. You know what? I don't want to jinx this, but I feel like Sziky is maybe at an advantage right now.
Yeah, no, he is. Currently, the macro potential of Sziky far exceeds what Dewalt has right now. Like, as long as he doesn't take any damage, if this hatchery stays alive, if DT doesn't slip by and kill drones, he's looking fantastic right now.
Lurker's already set up in position. We're seeing him get the, sunken colony, static defense for that close third base because, I mean, just closest distance to Dewalt's base, you gotta expect you're gonna see some pressure there.
Yeah. And we see no 33rd from Dewalt, so Sziky doesn't even have to really like commit to tech too heavily. He can play wider, he can like go more battle Zerg style, lots of lurkers, lots of Hydras, and as long as he doesn't take too much damage from this harass here, he's gonna be in a good shape. But here comes a shuttle with some storm.
Yeah.
Might get some drone.
No! Oh, come on.
Do you see that mind game? Do you see that patient composure? He knows he's going to drill the other way. Oh my god, Dewalt's so good, machine.
Oh my gosh, that's so painful. Everything was looking great, and then the base just explodes in 2 seconds.
Wow, crazy. Just flips the table over and says, nope.
Oh man, poor Sziky. Well, I mean, he's still got this 4th base running. Everything else is looking alright, but yeah, that was the damage Dewalt needed to kind of hang in this one, and oh man, that is a lot of Dragoons.
That's a lot of Dragoons and a lot of Storms. So if he can prevent the... And hey, look at this! There's no space for Sziky to work with here, so he's purely dependent on this Sunker Lurker setup. So if Dewalt can find the weak spot, which is probably the natural expansion at the moment, he could get punished, but I think right now Dewalt's not going to risk committing to an attack. He's just going to probably try and like skirmish with him at this this third base location while getting this third online and kind of forcing Sziky to go into Hive here, while maybe taking a quick 4th at the 12 o'clock probably from Dewalt.
Yeah, I think you're right. I am a little concerned about the natural, as you said. Oh, here we go. He's going in.
Yeah, he's going in for it again. Oh, he's going to go into the main. He's going to drop the Zealots to distract and then drop into the main.
Yeah, and Ziky's got some units out on the map that are likely going to get caught here.
Okay, he does pick off the shuttle, delaying the storm, but will still get 3 drones for his effort here. And any drone kills is annoying here for Zerg, because there's a lot to manage right now. A lot of spinning plates need to be maintained here for the Zerg, and you can't do everything. So a few of those plates have to fall to get yourself stabilized again.
Yeah, very true. We're seeing more lurkers get morphed at the third base. That is such a big army from Dewalt. I'd like to see him just pressure the natural, like you were saying. This may look like a lot of lurkers right here at the natural, but it's 6 lurkers. Yeah. Actually, maybe even only 2 at the 4th base is Sziky.
Well, Dewalt didn't have Amulet, so I guess he doesn't have 3 storms per Templar, but still, like, it's a lot of storm in this army. Like, if he had Amulet as well, I would say it was like almost like an unlosable position for him to be in, where he attacked into that. Just so much storm would be available in that corridor that, unless Sziky had a perfect pincer from both sides, as he sent out the units from the 3rd and the 6th respectively to pincer at the right time, there's no way you could win that trade, I don't think.
So we are finally seeing that pressure here from Dewalt, catching some Hydralisks. This is such a big corridor, but here we go. It looks like Dewalt going for it. Nice storm onto a group of Hydralisks. Lurkers being repositioned here to try to hold this natural.
So many Dragoons. They're like siege tanks in this matchup machine, and look at them just bleed off the Zerg units before they could even get a good surface area to work with, and not all the units engaging at the same time. There's always the critical blunder of Zerg players here. Unless your units engage all at the same time, you usually won't get the trade necessary to overpower the Dragoons, even if you do have a critical mass. And with this many Dragoons remaining in reserve with 2-1 armor upgrades, I don't think that he can out-trade him anymore. I think he's just going to get on top of the production here and just whittle him out of this game and grind him down to a nub.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just, as you said, it's so hard to get that for Zerg to engage with all units simultaneously. And even if you do, then Storm's optimized, right? So it's tough. GG is called there, and Dewalt taking a very strong game #1 against Sziky.
Yeah, very convincing as well. Dewalt looking very confident, composed, and who knows, we might see like a 3-1, 3-2 here quite quickly.
Yeah, possibly. Sziky was looking strong too. You know, before the storm drop, I'd say he was in a very solid position, and Dewalt definitely had to make some action happen, or he could have started carrying that away, but unfortunately did manage to do so.
Well, the Protoss do have this kind of decision of like, you know, am I going to try and be greedy and expand fast of like 5, 6, 7 gateways, or am I going to go into like 8 gateway 2-base production and just like have a really crazy time? It doesn't matter if you've got 4 bases, 7 hatcheries, if I could just run you over with a critical mass of army. Yeah,
and it seemed like Dewalt opted to take that 3rd base and, you know, continue playing out the game as opposed to doing that 8-gate timing, which also can be very strong, but you know, it's just one of those one-hit wonders. And I guess it's a player like Sziky going for a, you know, an 8-gate might be a death sentence. So,
yeah. I think Dewalt was very wise in how he approached that game. Like, he identified the strengths of Sziky and minimized those potential strengths while also maximizing his own strengths.
Yep. Looks like next map going to be Retro. So Retro, you know, another pretty standard-ish map. I'd say there's like less bases on it, you know, than your average map, but that's other than that, it's almost like a fighting spirit. A lot of high ground ramps to defend for both the races, and sounds like we are ready to go, folks. So let's go ahead and jump into game #2 here, Dewalt versus Sziky on Retro. And spawning top left of Retro as the blue Zerg, it's Sziky. And at the bottom left as the red Protoss, it is Dewalt.
So is Dewalt like the favored twin because he's got the webcam as well? Like, is that like the meta right now? Like, we had Zanhoon win with the webcam, now we got Dewalt with the webcam winning. Like, is that like a meta right now? Like, the one who has the webcam has the advantage here.
You know, I didn't think about it until you said that, but yeah, it's got to be, right? It's that confidence, like, all right, I want to watch everybody watch me win, you know?
Yeah. Maybe there's something to be said for that. You see, like, maybe there's like something they know about, like maybe it's like the observer effect, right? Just having like the eyes on you somehow gives you this like hidden power. Maybe there's some truth to that. Who knows?
Yeah, it makes you more buttoned up, I guess.
It's like a spirit bomb from Dragon Ball Z. Like, everyone's like lending you their energy to charge up your attack.
Yeah, you could be right. Actually, it's like a spirit bomb. Oh man. Well, everybody, give Dewalt your energy. He's got a tough task.
He's got enough energy.
Yeah, you could be right.
He's been training in the hyperbolic time chamber. This guy is like power levels off the charts right now. It's over 9,000. All the scouters are breaking.
So Sziky, once again, I want to point out that it's the same pool positioning. Yeah. So maybe it's to defend against early zealot pressure, like you're saying. I
think it has to be that. Like, he's a knowledgeable enough player that it has to be that. Like, if it's not that, he's crazy.
But it looks like once again it's going to be Dewalt going Forge, so it shouldn't really do much for him here. I was kind of expecting Dewalt to open gate first at least once, but maybe this is a read versus Sziky?
I think so. Well, Sziky's a very control-heavy player, and I feel like going gateway first actually offers up a lot of counterplay for Zerg. And like, if he knows that you're a gateway first player as well, like, oh my days, can you optimize against that as Zerg? So I do feel like going Forge, like, is probably the best middle ground cookie cutter way of playing against someone of Sziky's style.
I guess that makes sense. We have a drone in the third base position here, so looks like he will be taking his next base at the 12 o'clock location.
Yeah, I think. Do you think we're going to see a 973 here? Because actually, if he was going to go for a 973, this is probably going to be one of his better opportunities if he does want to go for that. But with the probe scout not being shut down, is he going to just like fake it, or do you think he's not even going to bother? He's just going to go straight into the lair?
If the probe lives, I think he won't even bother, and he's going to go into lair just based on his own gas timing. Like he's already set up to have, you know, that 100 gas in time to start lair. You know, rough. So that's just what I think. But if he maybe kills it here in a second, yeah, he could throw it.
Sixlings, he could throw it down right now.
Yeah, I guess he could. Doesn't look like that's
he could have thrown it down, but he's not doing it. Yeah, it's going to be split. But again, Dewalt doesn't know that, right? Like he could make the assumption that it's going to be lair first, but for all he knows, this could be a 973. So we'll have to maybe hedge his bets a little bit here going forward.
It does look like it is lair.
Yeah, definitely going to be lair, but again, Dewalt doesn't know that, so he has to make assumptions from this point until that Corsair does come out at like 6 minutes to confirm.
So nothing out of the ordinary going on for either player. Sziky making that Overlord at 16 supply. Dewalt already with the double gas. His wall's open, but he's doing such a good job with that probe, just keeping the Ling count scouted out, that there's not really an opportunity here for Sziky to punish it.
But it's so easy to break this gateway with 973. Like this is like one of the most Hydra bustable positions he could have probably hoped for. So I was really convinced that maybe he considered it. But I guess if he's already going into this with the game plan of free hatch Spire, then I guess like, you know, he doesn't necessarily want to change his game plan just to adjust to the game state. Yeah,
I guess so. Still, might have been nice just to switch it up.
I think so. I would have done, because it's a best of 5 series. I feel like you have to switch it up. I feel like if he plays free hatch Spire in like the first 3 games, unless he then switches it up later on in the series and then starts to play crazy, there's no real advantage to gain from that.
So looks like speed's finished for Sziky, so that will be the end of all scouting here for Dewalt. He's kind of forced to just sit back behind his wall from here on out. First Corsair underwear, Citadel as well.
And Dewalt has no scouting information right now, so if this was 973, like he'd have no preparation against this. Like he's making a second cannon in a second here, just to like kind of like hedge a little bit, just in case it was like some kind of pressure. But yeah, and he's making these cannons right up against the wall. Like this would be a nice Hydra bust, I think, if he did go for it.
Yeah, you're definitely convincing me at this point. Like that wall looks ugly, and I think it's also the best thing. Dewalt would stand no chance. Like, no big deal. Man, Dewalt's lucky I didn't make it to the round 8 BSL.
He's lucky I didn't show up. That's what I can say. I'll be taking this kid's lunch money right now.
Wow, Sziky jumping on the cannon. That's annoying. And look at the amount of probes he's forced to pull. You know what? This is never something I would have done, but it was, I think, the right call here. Scouts out the second gateway. Oh my gosh. When you're talking about Sziky being a control player, like, how can you be this annoying with like 8 circlings?
That's just how bad the wall is for Dewalt. That's why I'm looking at this game thinking, like, there's no way he's not going to Hydra bust this. But yeah, I mean, he's getting damage done even without having to commit to that. So just a testament to how bad of a setup this really was.
The Corsair was forced to move back as well. I don't know if he's just tilted or what. And actually nice surround on the 4 Zealots with these Lings.
This is a pre-+1 timing. Like usually +1 isn't finishing up until about just after 7 minutes with a normal Corsair Zealot timing. Unless you're going for like Citadel first and you're getting about 420, it's not going to be finished up by now.
Oh no. That DT, man.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a problem.
It could be. We do have 2 mutas here that could, a few mutas here to chase it down, maybe. But if it just runs by and Sziky, oh, okay, this is really bad. This is worst case scenario for Sziky. Now this is going to get into the main base and cause a lot of havoc.
Yeah, fortunately, at least there's an Overlord in the main. But yeah, this is going to get some kills here.
I imagine 3 or 4 drones here, unless he pulls them perfectly. Nah, 3 at least. Yeah.
Wow, it doesn't manage to sneak away there, so it does get some. At least he's able to kill it. But man, yeah, that's very annoying.
We had a choice, right? It's like kill 4 drones or kill 3 and maybe live. And he went for like the greedy, like the higher EV play.
Does have a sunken now at this 12 o'clock location. Still continuing to produce some drones here. DT walks in, gets couple more drone kills there, and then walks off. Yeah, it looks like unfortunately a couple drones idle at that third base for Sziky.
Well, it looks like Dewalt's making the kind of decisions that he needs to kind of like even out the scales a little bit after those early game shenanigans.
Yeah, he definitely has. Picking off those additional drones here. He's starting to build up that Corsair count, that Templar count. He's looking like he's in a pretty good position. Well, yeah, this drone count at the third needs to...
Yeah, those 2 idle drones will really punish him, actually. But the tricky thing for Sziky is that at this stage of the game, you can't really power drone. Like, you have to kind of make, like, at least, like, say, like 2 control groups worth of Hydra just to make sure you don't die, right? And that's the problem. And that's the problem, is that he can't afford to make a 6th hatchery in power drone right now. He has to make a few Hydras first.
Yeah, he really does. 2 Templar out. I'm assuming Dewalt's probably... Yeah, look at this. He knows he's ahead somehow. He's just got to do a 2-base timing.
Yeah, it makes sense given the game state. I like this from Dewalt. Now, Sziky does have the advantage of, we have this Fighting Spirit-esque map. It's basically like a remake of Fighting Spirit. It does come into natural expansion here and gets off one of these Templars for his efforts, but it's going to lose all these Mutors. So, all those Mutors for just 1 Templar. I don't know, actually. I think that's favored Dewalt here because he doesn't have to commit to the Corsairs anymore. Like, now all his gas is going to be going purely into Dragoons and Templars and upgrades, and that's not a good news for a Zerg player.
No, definitely not. Especially when the Templars are alive from this early on, right? Each of them are going to have a few storms to work with once the big engagement finally happens.
It also means that there's not going to be that potential of like him like making another 5 Mutors and start sniping off the Templars in the mid-game phase, right? We don't have that threat anymore. So we do have 3 gases from Sziky. So I'm curious, is he just going to like make a crazy amount of lurkers and try and abuse the high ground positioning and take top right? Or is he going to like do a big Mutor switch here and try and throw him off?
This is one of the rare cases. I think maybe a Muta switch would be better here, right? It's only 4 Corsair. Yes, they are being upgraded at the moment, but if he's already got the Hydra count, he just needs to clear those Templars.
Yeah. Skirmishing at the front here, see if he can bait out a storm or 2. Maybe catch a Templar if he's really lucky, but Dewalt's on top of things enough, and the Dragoons act as escort for the High Templars. Zealots aren't really the greatest of bodyguards. They're kind of like linebackers in football, but the Dragoons really do give you that escort to make sure your Templars don't get bullied so much.
Yeah, they definitely do. We are seeing the final Corsairs come in here. Yeah, this is a big force. Robo not done yet, so if there were lurkers out on the field, Dewalt would have to be careful here. Would stifle any kind of pressure.
Yeah, we should take note of like how few Zealots have been made this game. Like, he's gone right into Dragoons and he's powering, so he'll get a really strong critical mass here that'll be very hard for Sziky to overcome. Not even going to get that Corsair with the Scourge, so far everything going Dewalt's way. Yeah,
you got a couple connections, so the shields are gone on 2 Corsairs, but yeah, still.
This bridge, though, how does he trade at this bridge? Like, Dewalt can abuse this map so much.
Yeah, I mean, if those lurkers complete, suddenly things are looking a lot better here for Sziky.
Well, at least he can't attack into him and kill him, but...
Oh, we got a Templar!
Oh, we got a Templar! That's actually huge. That's huge. And a pretty good Storm Dodge. Oh, look at this. Another Storm Dodge here at the south, also picking up a Dragoon. Really nice from Sziky. This is the kind of whittling down you need to do to kind of stop this from Deathball from getting out of control. And no Amulet upgrade from Dewalt here. He does skip this Amulet upgrade for quite some time, it seems. And he won't be getting up to 3 Storms per Templar that he could maybe go for, but still going to be getting great cost-effective Storms if Sziky's not on top of his Storm Dodging. But so far, Sziky has pretty much avoided every possible damage that Dewalt's gone for with those Storms. So if he can keep that up, maybe he can make this work. And yeah, he's taking this top right like I thought he would.
Yeah, he is taking that top right. He's in position here. This is the weird part in the game where, like you were saying, once Protoss starts taking their third, you don't really want to keep skirmishing out on the map as Zerg. Just take your 4th, be okay with that, pull back up off the map completely, and be patient. And we're seeing that exactly here from Sziky.
This is textbook ZVP. Like, you switch to a more passive way of playing. You know, you just like consolidate your forces, siege yourself up, and go into that hive really fast, get crackling online, go into plagues, and take it to a much more later game. You do have a stronger chance of winning in the super late game. It's just that this mid to late game phase is when you're at your weakest, so you kind of have to turtle up with your lurkers here and really bunker down.
We're seeing Dewalt move top right here. Only a single lurker top. Oh, he might be even going 12 o'clock. This looks a little scary.
A little scary.
Sziky is set up. He should start morphing some lurker eggs on the ramp. Just delay. Allow his rally to catch up. Oh, but nope. He's going to allow him up.
Well, you can make an egg on the ramp as well to buy a little bit of time to get some more forces up here. Here we see that. Just a little bit of blocking here to stop the Dragoons from being able to get up here so easily, and kind of, if he makes one lurker at a time, we can delay Dewalt here from getting 2 cost-efficient trades. Yeah, it looks like Dewalt doesn't want to risk that, but actually he could probably break into this. I feel like he could actually break this position if he wanted to.
He might be able to, but it is a risk.
Yeah,
right?
It's a big risk.
What he's done so far is like he's just trading Templar energy. He's kind of poking, sure, but he's like scouting out. He'll trade the Templar energy and then he'll back up. So he's just getting free kills.
Which is high-level PvZ, right? You make it look like you're going to commit to an attack, then you just skirmish with storms and disengage. And you do that over and over again, and it's very hard for the Zerg to combat that. Eventually, they'll get frustrated and reposition their lurkers to engage you, and then all the lurkers are stacked to storm, and it's like an optimal trade for the Protoss side of the way.
Yep, exactly. So we're seeing Defiler Mound coming out at the 12 o'clock position. For Sziky, top right is underway. There's a Nidus here now, so I'm much less concerned for Sziky about this top right base.
Yeah, he's got Nidus coming up here, but it's not yet joined, I don't think. That's the start of the Nidus canal, right? That's not the end.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Okay, so it is the natural. Still, they build fairly fast, and it looks like Dewalt not going to really commit either way, so he should be all right here.
Yeah, he's just skirmishing. He hasn't elected to take his 4th just yet. He's now just now starting to take this 9 o'clock. This is a great 4 for him to take, actually, because it locks out Zerg from taking this base later on as well. Taking these bases is so critical in this game because it locks out your opponent from getting their own base set up there later on, because it's so easy to defend with a much fewer amount of units.
And look at this. Yeah, it's just a cannon and a couple zealots. And yeah, there's just no way that's going to break up there anytime soon. Sziky obviously not really wanting to commit a ton either way.
Yeah,
it has to.
Look how efficient it is to hold these high ground bases. It's crazy. Like, it locks out your opponent from really using that lane of attack anymore as well. So now Sziky has to think about the center only, and Protoss isn't too worried about that. This map does have a very wide open center, but it's not as big as you'd think. Like, it's like, ooh, that's a beautiful trade here. Look at him pressuring the front here, and he doesn't have to attack. He can just skirmish all day long. Has that amulet upgrade finally, so 3 storms apiece on these high Templars, and they even spawn with a lot more energy. They spawn with like 62 instead of 50.
I don't know. This is looking very thinly defended here for Sziky. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Dewalt just move in for a kill.
He definitely can, and he can also snipe this Nidus canal very easily with Dragoons. Like, this is a very poorly placed Nidus canal, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little exposed.
Yeah, it does shut him down from juggling his units around if he does get a snipe on that. But also could also bait Dewalt into coming into a kill box as well. Could also use that Nidus canal to bait Protoss into a bad position sometimes.
Yeah, you definitely could, especially with like a big crackling flank, like you were mentioning earlier. Oh, okay, trying to pick off some Corsairs there. They were able to make it out. Dewalt already trying to just secure bottom right. He's got the advantage now.
Yeah.
Zerg is on the back foot, and he's not going to take a risk. He's just going to take his advantages.
Well, he's playing this phase of the game like PvT, like securing another quadrant of the map. It's very accurate in what you should do in this situation. Look at this really efficient use of the high ground to like keep these Hydras pinned at the bottom while the army comes in to like do a little mop up on aisle 5 here. Really optimal play from Dewalt.
Yeah. I mean...
Stomped his
No.
Freeing up supply there.
Yeah, exactly. That was intentional.
He needed 2 more probes, okay, guys? 2 more probes.
Oh man, Sziky, finally has pretty solid eco at the top right main, starting to take that top right natural
it's
as
an
well.
arbiter. He's making an arbiter.
Oh, he's going for recall.
Oh wow! You don't usually see Arbiter in PvZ, but honestly, I wish we saw it more. Like, it has higher EV than people give it credit for in this matchup.
It does. There's everything works. That's just actually the problem. It's like all the Dark Archon, Reaver is very strong.
Yeah.
Like Arbiter is great. Sure, I'll tell you one. You ever run up against like good Koreans going late game carrier, Arbiter, Storm, Reaver?
I would argue that if you're letting them go mass carriers, the game's already really bad. But hold the phone, actually. 9 o'clock, big drop, double Defiler coming out with a big Dark Swarm play, and this could potentially kill this base here. There is not that many High Templars here, just a few trickling in. Maybe can clean this force up enough before it kills the Nexus. Yeah, I think he's just barely going to get her in time to stop them from killing the Nexus at least, but it's a little bit frustrating to take a bit of a dent into your economy, but it does have this base in the bottom right set up, so still not too upset. Oh, he's actually going to get this Nexus here machine. This is huge.
Yeah, that was massive. Somehow Sziky just making the most of poor position. Yeah. I mean, that's the power of Dark Swarm drops, right? Like, he really threw Dewalt for a loop here. Oh, Dewalt coming in though, going to try to storm this 12 o'clock base. Does get a few drones, probably 5-6 drones, something like that.
He picked off the first High Templar before it could storm, fortunately, with the Lurker target firing. So actually, not really taking as much damage as he probably should have there. So overall, this has gone Sziky's way, and being set up in Hive now with Plague starting to become relevant, Dewalt could actually lose this game if Sziky can get the cost efficiency going and start plaguing this army over and over again.
I mean, it looks like we're on the way for that. Oh no!
Oh, this is bad, actually.
Dark Swarm not quite able to get off there, and suddenly Dewalt just eating some free units.
This is the problem with Zerg. While you're repositioning your Lurkers to engage the Protoss, they'll almost always be stacked unless you're, like, really metagaming and trying to split them all perfectly, which is so hard to do with how many things you have to juggle with Zerg. So usually you'll just get such crazy cost-efficient storms in these trades.
We're seeing Sziky start to try to cut the map again. If Sziky holds...
He needs 3 o'clock, though.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if he holds 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, he can win this. Yeah,
then he can win. But attacking into 9 will be so difficult because Dewalt's going to put Reavers at 9.
True. You got to find a way, though. I don't know if it's Guardian. I don't know what it is, but
well, do you know what's crazy is that he actually could use this Arbiter defensively, like using EMP against Arbiter. He could now use Stasis against the Doom Drop.
Ah, I see.
And then he'll always be in position to deal with a drop.
Nice plague. It looks like at least Sziky has broke the ramp. And there's a Lurker field bottom right, cutting off Dewalt's bottom right main base.
I mean, yeah.
But here we go, the Flood.
But the Flood here could actually work. The Reaver's only just popped out, so the Scarabs take a little while to build here, so we'll not be doing the DPS out. This is the highest DPS unit in the game, guys, but with Scarabs, if it's building the Scarabs, it has less DPS, because it takes longer to build these Scarabs than it can shoot.
Is that the look of concern I see on Dewalt's face here? He could be getting a little worried.
If he gets a few plagues on this army here on the right, maybe it would be a little bit more concerning. So far, this death ball of Protoss hasn't eaten as big plagues as it could have, and there is an Arbiter set up on the right-hand side of the map for a recall play at some point, so we could see this big death ball just like dive into the top right any moment here.
Sziky has supply advantage at the moment. Mid-left is not mining. For Dewalt.
This is looking good for Sziky. If he doesn't get a good recall and doesn't do any damage to the Zerg anytime soon, he's still not mining at this 9 o'clock base and isn't able to take this bottom right natural either. So even though Sziky doesn't have the 3 o'clock set up yet, he's got some compensation for that. Here comes this big recall play though into the top right.
Oh man, here we go. He's got to start sending units through the Nidus. Already has a Lurker set up here? I can't believe that. Who saw this coming? Sziky did.
Yeah, well, but Storm could be such a big problem here. Reaver also with this recall, but the Scarab is dudding out on those minerals. It's not an optimal positioning. So far getting a great trade on this Protoss army is Sziky. This is probably about as good as it could have gone for Sziky, given the current game state. So yeah, a little bit worrying for Dewalt here. If he can't get this additional base set up in the bottom right natural and get more probes at 9 o'clock, I have a feeling that Ziki's on the route to winning this game. And he's not mining, he made a mistake, he misclicked.
Oh my gosh, those nerves, man. Those round of 8 BSL nerves starting to show themselves here for Dewalt. We're seeing Sziky reposition a lurker field mid-left. I think he smells blood in the water.
Yeah, I mean, unironically, him not mining at 9 o'clock with that misclick is actually going to cost him a lot. And he's put all those probes onto gas. He's still not mining minerals at this base machine.
Yeah, maybe he's worried there's a hold position lurker set up there or something. That's the only thing I can think of.
But the pros are just chilling on the left already. He could have already activated the lurkers. Oh, now look at this. The Storm drop play in the top right could be crucial, though. He gets all these drones for his efforts, and the Zealots also will do a nice little work at cleaning up some of these Zerg forces, so not going to be mining here for some time is Sziky. So that's a nice little compensation for not mining at his 9 o'clock. Is now starting to mine, finally, with those probes, so starting to stabilize his economy just a little bit. But Sziky is almost maxed out with a lot of gas in the bank, so if he can set up this 3 o'clock base, I don't know, maybe he's still looking okay here.
Yeah, I truly think he is. That is quite a bit of gas stacked up for Sziky. I'd love to start seeing maybe Guardians just to open up this mid-left base.
Maybe, yeah. Guardians are kind of funky in ZVP, right? Like they have some potential, but their EV is actually pretty low. You have to pre-split them, and they soak up a few storms. So depending on what utility the Protoss has available to him, they're good or not. So if there's enough storms at the 9 o'clock, they won't be good. But if there's not enough storm, they actually can get a lot of value.
Looks like a Reaver might be falling here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I actually think that Guardians would be a super bad play here. I mean, there's not a lot of storms out on the map available to him, so pressuring this 9 o'clock base by baiting out lots of storms over and over again, and he could apply enough pressure to break the base.
Yeah, I think even just to soak up the storms, they might have the value just because Sziky's got so much additional gas to work with.
Right, you might be right there, Machine. Yeah.
We're seeing a flood of Lings. I mean, Sziky is not giving this up. Still, the reinforcing Reavers coming from the natural here. I mean, it's so tough to break that many Reavers.
I mean, they're slugging it out right now, and in the most literal sense, and he's just barely coming out ahead. There's a few more trickling forces, but hold the phone. There's another drop in the bottom right natural, top right natural, and look at that beautiful storm and connections. Though does take out one of the shuttles with their Scourge, but getting so much of the Zerg's economy with these plays is really stifling Sziky's ability to maintain his strength in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing the faucet shut off here. Sziky is not mining out of one of his major bases. Dewalt somehow, some way, holding mid-left and start to take mid-right. Yeah, if he breaks it.
He has enough coming. He has enough coming to break this.
Oh, we're seeing Dewalt scramble. His main force moving to mid-left. Just got to kill that Reaver, though.
Yeah, okay, gets the Reaver first. He can get the Nexus. Okay, but here's the thing, though. Dewalt identifies that he just needs to stop the 3 o'clock going up. If he stops this base on the right going up, I think he's still favored here.
Yeah, I think you're right. Still, though, I mean, you never want to be even supply with a Zerg like this.
No, it's dangerous
and he is taking an additional base. Sziky's econ has been stifled.
It's hard to analyze because if Dewalt stops 3 o'clock going up, but also inversely Sziky doesn't allow 9 o'clock to be retaken, then the script kind of gets flipped, but then rewritten, and we're kind of in a similar game state as we was, just with a different plot line.
Sure, I would say in the long run, it's maybe slight advantage for Dewalt just because he's at least already mined some of that 9 o'clock base.
Yes, but not enough. Like he didn't mine for a long time with those probes at 9 o'clock, so he doesn't have the kind of advantage he should have.
We're seeing actually more Arbiters being produced, and Dewalt's doubling down on his cannons. I think he's kind of recognized that no matter what, we're in it for like an hour plus long game here.
Not necessarily an hour, but he's probably anticipating a 45-50 minute game potentially here. And that could very well be the case. I think Queens maybe could come out in this game later on. If we get some broodlings going on for the super late game trades, maybe Sziky can find that cost efficiency required to overcome Dewalt with this current game state, but it looks like he doesn't want to go for that kind of play. It looks like he's more thinking about shutting down this 3 o'clock and maintaining 9. If he can get control over both of these bases, of the 3 and 9, then he will have control over the game.
Yeah, very true. We're seeing Dewalt kind of scramble here. Units moving in towards mid-left. I don't think this is the play.
Dewalt's desperate to retake 9, but this will actually maybe cost him the game because he's going to get played from the high ground and he still hasn't got 3 o'clock. So far, Sziky's going to slowly trail ahead of him, I think.
Yeah, especially once this base gets up and mining. Yeah, it's going to be very concerning here.
Just be careful not to lose the shuttle to these 2 Scourge just hanging out. I mean, Ziky's like spinning a lot of plates right now, so you probably won't even notice that shuttle and the chance of it being sniped, but still, you need to be careful not to lose your units for free here at this stage of the game.
Seeing Dewalt pressuring in here, I think with the Reaver in the shuttle. Yeah.
Scourge going to try to pounce onto the shuttle, not quite able to get it though. Only 1 Scourge was able to find that connection, and the Reaver's now going to be laying siege to this natural in the top right quadrant, and there's a big Protoss death ball here. But meanwhile, the usual weakest point of Protoss is the natural expansion in the late game phase, and Sziky wants to pressure that now, attacking from the 9 o'clock to keep pressuring it. But there's enough cannons, Reavers, and Storm here. I think that he will hold on, but Dewalt's force in the top right. This is looking a little bit scary.
I mean, Sziky cannot lose top right, no question. Yeah. He's got to send everything and anything
Defilers, Plagues, we need all kinds of stuff here to trade well. He has a Defiler, but there's no energy, can't Plague this army, no Darkswarm either, so yeah, he finally gets a consume down to Darkswarm. Defiler's coming in from the rear, but the beautiful Storm on those is going to be something that I'm not getting any spells cast from the rear. Bit of miscontrol here from Sziky, could potentially cost him this game. There is still this Darkswarm buffering and buying some time. It'll last for about a minute, but like 28 kills on this one Reaver. These units are getting such high cost efficiency right now. Sziky finally plummeting the supply. Dewalt taking a huge lead finally in this matchup, looking like a normal PvZ of just pure insane cost efficiency here. Machine.
Definitely, man. I mean, we're seeing the Storms being used very well here. Reaver still alive, so he's going to continue to siege this base. Has an observer to scout out these lurkers as well, and yeah, we're just seeing him get the better of these trades now.
Yeah, if he was paying attention, he could also kill that Defiler with the Archon, and he's cleaning up pretty much everything. Like, he's losing this Death Ball, but he's doing so much damage with it. If he can just find a tiny bit of damage to the economy, it'll be huge. If he can just get 1 or 2 Scarabs in this... Oh, there's the Storm and the Mirror Line I was looking for. He just needed a little bit of damage onto the economy, as well as the trades, to really maximize his value here. And now we're going to be trying to bust this 9 o'clock base as well from the low ground.
Oh man, and yeah, unfortunately Sziky repositioned those lurkers, so that did create the pressure needed to hold this, or to take this rather. Oh no.
Oh man.
Yeah, looks like
Sziky's sending everything. He knows that he needs to hold this 9 o'clock to guarantee winning this game, and Dewalt has enough forces here now to shut out this counterattack. This is looking bad for Sziky here, Machine. I'm a little bit worried for our Zergler.
Yeah, I definitely am, man. We're seeing an 80 supply advantage here for Dewalt. This is really one of the final bases that is mining here for Sziky outside of top right. So
yeah,
yep,
he's just going to tap out.
Is called.
It makes sense. Like, you can't really come back from this position as Zerg. Like, everything was like needing... The game state was dependent on maintaining control of 9 o'clock and then eventually taking 3.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, man, what a game, though. It was so back and forth. I don't know how many times I thought I was saying Dewalt had it, it's over, he's going to kill him with a 2-base timing, an 8-gate, and then vice versa. Sziky taking, mid-left, taking a supply advantage. Ah, man, it is just crazy between these two.
Honestly,
taking it.
That's the best game of the evening thus far. It'll be hard to top that, but these two players could show us a really exciting series. Like, Sziky is a high enough caliber of player that he can frustrate Dewalt. It's just that Dewalt seems to be so experienced that he's like getting the best of him even in these like really intense situations. So Ziky's gonna have to really like pull something out here. I would really love to see him start to get aggressive. He's not gonna do 2-hatch Hydra because it's been Forge openings, but I would love to see a 9-7-3 from him.
You know what? I'm on team 9-7-3 now. I want to see it. For no other reason than to like propose a different threat.
We have to keep the Protoss honest. We have to keep him like making that third cannon and being worried. You know what I mean? Like we can't just let him like be this greedy and get away with it, especially in those kind of walls that he was doing.
Definitely. But with that, it's going to be Vermeer for map 3 here. Vermeer, another big 4-player map, very similar to the last 2 maps that we just witnessed. You know, I'd say it's, you know, it could go either way here. I don't really want to say the map favors either of these players. It's just a pretty standard map, honestly.
Yeah, as far as PvZ is concerned as well, I mean, you could argue that ZBT, there's a little bit of a slight imbalance on Vermeer, but yeah, PvZ, probably nothing too crazy. Going to be going either way.
Yeah. Looks like, yeah, are we going into the next game here soon? Sorry.
Yeah, we're just waiting on confirmation from our players. I think we are.
Cool. All right, looks like map 3 here, going to be Vermeer, as we said. Both our players are ready to go, so let's jump into game number 3, Dewalt versus Sziky on Vermeer.
Let's get it, guys.
And spawning, top left as the red Zerg, it's Sziky. And in the bottom right, currently up 2-0 as the blue Protoss, it's Dewalt.
All right, he touched his face. Okay, so I've got a theory now. I've noticed with Zanhoon as well, like they touch their face an average of like 1.7 times a game. So now we need to study Dewalt. Does he touch his face again this game, or is it just going to be that one time?
It's like it's a tell. Like if he touches his face more than one time in a game, like something's off.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna start analyzing these players, and I think having the webcams really does give like a new nuance and depth here. Like we see the true poker mindset come into effect.
Yeah, very true. Well, we've seen, you know, overpull twice in a row now out of Sziky. I wonder if we'll see it again here. If maybe he'll take a risk, go for something like a hatch first, which could be nice if he knew it was cross map.
I also noticed when Dewalt plays, he does a lot of open mouth sucking of air. Like, I don't know if he's doing that to like calm his nerves or what have you, but a lot of times he is open mouthed. Like it makes me wonder if he's like, you know, just sucking down oxygen, like trying to calm his nerves at all times.
Maybe could be saying something to himself too. I don't know.
It doesn't look like he's talking, but maybe he's like muttering under his breath, you know, like not playing perfect, like, you know, Snow would have played better.
Could you imagine playing that last game, winning it, and then being upset about it? Like, I mean, that was such a well played just scrap fest between these two. But I mean, it just,
to be fair though, you don't, it's weird though, right? Like there's a lot of players that like they if they're not getting those clean wins, they're not happy, right? They want to be more convincing in their execution. They want to like have that sort of like high confidence, and if there is a bit of shaky tempo swings going on, it does make you a little bit fearful that like these future games could not go your way if you don't execute.
Very true. Ooh, we're seeing Sziky pull that.
He's faking
second Overlord back.
Look at this. This is great. He's also faking a potential cannon rush here, and he's going gateway first finally. So we're now finally seeing a little bit of like build order obfuscation, and the drone won't see the Zealot timing either. He obviously can make the assumption that the Zealot's already coming cross map, and he is. But yeah, gonna be throwing down that Nexus before Forge as well. So gonna be getting a little bit of optimizations here with the cross map in mind.
We're seeing Sziky save Larva, so it should be possibly 6 Lings here to start. Yeah, just wants to kill the Zealot and
because it's cross map though, he can still get away with this Nexus first. Like he's not too worried about the 6 Ling timing.
This is a 2-hatch. 2-hatch layer here.
Yeah, this is how I wanted to play. I wanted to play 2-hatch layer. I think it's much more strong against someone of Dewalt's ilk. And with the gateway first, actually does line up nicer, I would say.
No way! I can't believe he got out with that drone.
Oh, it's beautiful surround on that Zealot as well. Sziky, you're a madman. Let's go. Come on, he's gonna turn it around now. He's gonna put the pressure on the wall as well. This late Forge is now gonna maybe punish Dewalt. He goes out with these 8 Lings and puts on pressure. I think he's going to block the ramp. He's prioritizing denial of scouting here rather than putting on pressure. This is an interesting choice here. He's prioritizing the build order obfuscation over the potential pressure he can. He doesn't know the late forge though. I guess like he doesn't know how late the forge is. He's made the assumption that his Nexus first into the forge, and he knows that for sure. But he doesn't know just how late the forge is. So if he knew that, maybe he'd do a full committal here.
So we are seeing the sixlings starting to pressure here. I guess he wants to maybe threaten that it could be like 2-hatch lurker timing, but
yeah, he wants to prioritize obfuscating the Spire timing and the potential of the lurker bust, because lurker bust is actually a threat here. Like it sounds a little bit crazy, but actually lurkers in this matchup is really strong. Like you just run up to the wall with a couple of lurkers and bust it down. Like there's not a lot pros can do there. Without a robo,
we actually saw a win with that in ASL this season.
Yeah.
On Troy. Yeah.
It's a very strong timing, and someone of Dewalt's caliber, I mean, he will be considering that possibility. He's played against it on the ladder a few times. He knows that possibility.
But you also have to know it's more likely that it's just Muta.
Right.
You know, it's usually Muta.
Yeah, you can safely make that assumption, but sometimes you can use that image to work your advantage. Like I always go for mutas, but then that one time I go lurkers, you're like, oh, you know, and it's like a surprise mother, you know.
And both these players have played each other so often that, you know, there's definitely a bit of mind games afoot here.
Right. Does have a lot
this
of
is
stealing,
a unique little zealot path.
Oh wow, you need to be careful though, because if Sziky reads into this and these links come back, he's going to kill all these zealots.
I think he's committed either way. If he gets on that ramp, it doesn't matter.
Oh, he's getting the block though. Okay, Sziky has enough time to get the surround on these zealots. Does the drill to maybe catch these zealots on the ramp, and does get a pretty good surround with these drones. If he loses a few of the drones with target firing, it's not so good. Does lose one of those drones, but pretty good from Dewalt actually blocking the ramp with the zealot going into the main base and gets another drone. Has 2 drones down so far, and still getting a pretty good trade on the ramp as well. So it's about a best case scenario for Dewalt as he could have hoped for with how many speedlings there were on the map. He could have killed all of those zealots for free. So instead, getting 2 drones or compensation before the muta timing is a really good trade here for Dewalt.
Yeah, that's huge. He does also get to see that Spire timing, knows that there are mutas on the way, so he's just got to sit back behind his cannons, build up that Corsair count. Meanwhile, Sziky, he's got to recognize he's lost this timing and just drone. Get your 4th hatchery down, pull drones off gas, drone. Do
you see this cannon positioning in the main base for Dewalt as well? Like, it gives so much zone control to the Stargate. Like, there's one play where the Sziky could have gone 4 Muta, 1 Scourge, and camped the Stargate and just picked off the Corsairs as they came out. But this cannon close to the Stargate shuts that down completely.
Yeah, very true. It's kind of necessary, I guess, at this level.
Yeah.
We do have 2 Scourge coming in here. If he maybe picks off this cannon in the mineral line.
Oh, he gets the Scourge connection on these Corsairs. Okay, Sziky can still win this game. Like, 6 mutas, like, dominate 2 Corsairs. So if he can kill this cannon in a natural expansion, Dewalt can't actually re-secure this.
We have 2 more Scourge coming in as well. So Dewalt going to need to be very careful about that.
Yeah, so far Sziky has a lot of damage potential here in this natural expansion. Until this cannon finishes, a lot of probes can fall.
He still does have 2 Corsairs alive, and every time they hit, they are splashing each and every single one of these units, including the 2 Scourge. So
yeah. So he is trading a lot of HP, but I would say that the unfortunate thing is we saw some misconnections with the glaive, so he actually didn't kill enough probes here. Like 3 of those probes are on red HP, so unfortunately for Sziky, not quite finding the connections. Does kill one of these Corsairs though, and the other one is low HP, so getting a little bit of connections here, still keeping the threat of Ogre Zerg alive, but I don't think Ziki's going to go for it here.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to just be like a 4-hatch Hydra timing.
Yep, it's exactly how we should have played in game number 1, by the way.
Do you think this can work?
It can work, but with losing those mutas, Dewalt might be able to get the scout off. With the DT coming out, okay, this is a little bit troublesome because he's going to show the Hydras to the DT. He's showing the Hydras to the DT. So now we're a little bit problematic here for Sziky because he's going to get some damage on these Hydras, and it's a little bit frustrating because we've shown what we're doing, and we're weakening our timing.
True. It wasn't much, to begin with, and now those Hydras are very weak.
Yeah.
I mean, this timing almost feels stifled before it got started.
He needs 4 cannons and Storm to hold the timing, basically. And he has those 4 cannons morphing in now, so he won't die to this like he should.
I think he just needs like 2 cannons. Like, it's already so weak. The Storm's gonna kill all the 5 Hydra, I feel like.
To be honest, that 4 Zealot pressure earlier on in the game has made it so weak. Like, he lost a lot of mining time from the drone drill, and losing 2 drones is what's really stifled this 4-hatch timing.
So here we go. DT gets a couple drones and just out. Yeah.
This is so frustrating as a Zerg player. Like, you can't do anything about this. Like, you can't even catch the DT. The Overlord speed isn't done yet.
Yeah.
The only compensation is killing the Forge. That's the only compensation Sziky has in going forward, and it's not enough. Like, he's going to still harass this third base location with the Ser DT, pin down these Hydras. We can't even power drone right now. Oh, look at this miss rally as well. Everything kind of going like out of Zyky's way right now, and nice little Storm on those Hydras as well. Doesn't get the Storm Judge that he was hoping for, and does get the Forging Gateway, but it's not enough compensation. And DT going to be slipping into natural expansion, tries to body block it from getting behind the minerals. Overlord's trying to shuffle over to the left-hand side to stop it from being able to get into the main base, but it's a lot of lost mining time, and that's all that you really need to do to the Zerg play. Even if you don't kill drones, just forcing drills and lost mining time is plenty of damage here.
I mean, and like 3 Overlords there.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough.
Yeah, things just not really working out too well for Sziky. It's gonna be tough to come back from this one.
It's looking like one of my games. It's not looking so good.
I hear you, man. It's like every ZVP I play on ladder.
I mean, as a Zerg player, this is very cathartic to watch, right? But
it's not just me.
It's so true, though, right? It's so relatable. It's painful.
It's true, man. But Sziky's still fighting the good fight here for us Zergs. One of the final 2 remaining Zergs in the top 8 of BSL.
Yeah, one of the final bastions of hope, but there's not a lot of light at the end of the tunnel here for Sziky. He's gonna, it's gonna be rough going forward. But I really do want him to win.
I do too, man. And if anyone could do it from this position against Dewalt, it's Sziky. So
he's gone back into Mutas now, so he can come in here. There's not a lot of Corsairs, so he can get a few Templar snipes potentially if he dodges around the storms. He's taking a lot of neutron flare damage onto those Mutas, though. They're already softened up to red, so coming in for the Oh, he lost so many Mutas for free. Oh my god. Avert your eyes, viewers. This is painful. This is like Protoss porn.
Yeah, that was rough. I don't know, man. Dewalt just on top of it. Those split-second storms. And here we go. Zealots committing in. 3 Templars moving forward. Corsairs cleaning up more and more Overlords. That Archon's finally finished as